We both fell for the same guy. But I never expected this to happen. I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this. The kind of situation that feels like a plotline ripped straight from a rom-com or maybe even a tragic drama. But here I am, sitting in front of my laptop at 2 a.m., trying to piece together everything that happened. It's crazy, really. And I still can't believe it. So let me start from the beginning. My name is Jane. I'm 22 and I've always been the type of girl who stays out of the drama. I've never been in a serious relationship, mostly because I've always prioritized my friendships and my career aspirations over anything else. But my best friend Alice, she's always been the more adventurous one when it came to love. She's 24 and she's had her fair share of heartbreaks, flings, and crushes. We've always been close, like sisters, really. We've been through everything together. We met in college when we both ended up in the same orientation group and instantly clicked. We'd shared late-night talks, silly adventures, and of course, heartbreaks too. Alice and I always vowed to support each other no matter what. No guy could ever come between us, right? Wrong. I guess it all started when we met Alex. Alex was everything we weren't expecting. Chapter 1. The first encounter. It was a Friday evening, and Alice and I had decided to grab drinks at a new bar in town. We were both fresh off a stressful week of work. Me, a recent graduate trying to land my first full-time job, and Alice, who had been trying to get her business off the ground. We needed to unwind. That's when we saw him. Alex. He was standing at the bar, laughing with a group of friends. He had a messy mop of dark hair, a scruffy beard, and a smile that was just magnetic. I swear, the moment he laughed, the whole room seemed to get a little brighter. He was wearing a plain black t-shirt, but the way he carried himself, confident but not cocky, drew me in immediately. I noticed Alice noticing him too. Her eyes had that familiar glint, the one she gets when she's interested in someone. It was the kind of look that made me half joke to her that we were going to have another one of those, who gets the guy nights. Except this time it didn't feel like a joke. Alice nudged me, her voice low. He's cute. You should talk to him. I was instantly taken aback. Alice was never shy about talking to guys, but me? I've always been a little more reserved. But there was something about Alex. Something magnetic, something I couldn't put my finger on. Should we both go up? I asked, trying to gauge how serious she was. She hesitated for just a second before replying with a smirk. Why not? If you want him, you go first. I'll follow your lead. I blinked at her, unsure if she was being sarcastic or serious. But she was already getting up, heading toward the bar like she had no reservations at all. And before I could overthink it, I followed her. Chapter 2. The first conversation. Alice got to him first. Of course she did. It was like watching a scene unfold in slow motion. She leaned in, smiled, and introduced herself. Alex turned to her, giving her a warm smile, and they started chatting. I stood awkwardly behind Alice, unsure whether to join in or just observe. But Alice, always the social butterfly, noticed me right away. Oh, hey Jane, she said, pulling me into the conversation. This is Alex. I think you two would get along. I could feel Alex's eyes on me, and suddenly I felt a little self-conscious. I wasn't as outgoing as Alice, and I definitely didn't have her confidence. But there was something so easy about talking to Alex. His voice was calm, soothing, and there was a warmth in his presence that immediately put me at ease. We talked about everything. Our jobs, our favorite books, our favorite movies. It felt so natural, so effortless. Before I knew it, hours had passed. The bar was closing down, and Alice had already slipped out without me noticing. I wasn't even annoyed. I was too busy getting lost in conversation with Alex. I should probably get going, I said, standing up. Alex smiled, his eyes twinkling with that same warmth. Yeah, I think they're about to kick everyone out. But hey, I'd love to see you again. Maybe we could grab coffee sometime. Yeah, I'd like that, I said, my heart fluttering a little. What was happening? Was this really happening? Chapter 3. The growing tension. The next few days were a whirlwind. Alex and I texted. Then we met up for coffee. Then we grabbed dinner. And suddenly, I realized I was spending more and more time with him. We clicked in a way I hadn't experienced before. He was kind, funny, and intelligent. Every time I looked at him, it felt like I was seeing something new, something that made him even more attractive. The problem was, Alice noticed too. At first, she seemed supportive. She'd ask about our dates and playfully tease me about how much time I was spending with him. I wasn't oblivious. I could tell that Alice was interested in Alex, but I didn't think much of it. After all, she'd had her fair share of guys in the past. This one seemed different, but I didn't think it would be an issue. We both agreed on never letting a guy come between us, right? Wrong. Chapter 4. The tension builds. It was a Sunday afternoon when everything started to shift. Alice and I were sitting on the couch in my apartment, scrolling through our phones and gossiping about life. Alex had texted me earlier, asking if I wanted to hang out that evening, and of course I'd said yes. But Alice didn't miss a beat. "So, when's your next date with Mr. Perfect?" she asked, her tone light, but there was an edge to it. I caught the look in her eyes, something that wasn't quite right. I shrugged, trying to play it cool. "I don't know, maybe later tonight. We're just grabbing dinner." Alice didn't respond immediately. She looked at me for a moment, and then she sighed. "Jane, I need to tell you something." I raised an eyebrow, sensing the shift in her mood. "What's up?" She hesitated for a moment, her fingers playing nervously with a strand of hair. "I've been talking to Alex, too." My stomach dropped. "What?" I asked, trying to process what she was saying. "When?" "Last night," Alice said quietly. "He came over after you left the bar. We talked for a while, and I think I like him, Jane." I stared at her, my mind racing. Was this happening? Had I been so wrapped up in my own feelings that I didn't see it coming? Or had I just assumed Alice wouldn't go after him because of our friendship? I felt my pulse quicken, but I tried to keep my voice steady. "Alice, are you serious?" She nodded, looking genuinely conflicted. "I didn't want to tell you this, but I think I need to. I think I have feelings for him." Chapter 5. The ultimate decision. The next few days were a blur of uncertainty and tension. Alice and I didn't talk much about Alex, but we both knew the elephant in the room was getting bigger. Every time Alex texted or called me, I could feel the weight of Alice's unspoken words hanging over my head. Eventually, I realized something. I had to make a choice. I was in love with Alex. That much was clear. But Alice was my best friend, the person who had been there for me through everything. Could I really let a guy come between us? I decided to talk to Alex. Chapter 6. The truth comes out, Alex, I said, sitting down across from him at our usual cafe. "We need to talk." He looked at me, his eyes narrowing slightly. "What's going on, Jane?" I hesitated. "It's about Alice. She told me she has feelings for you too." Alex's expression softened, and he leaned back in his chair, his hand running through his hair. I figured as much. I was taken aback. "You knew?" He nodded. "I wasn't sure at first, but after spending time with both of you, I could tell something was going on. I just didn't want to make it awkward." "Why didn't you say anything?" I asked, feeling a surge of frustration. "Why didn't you tell us both?" Alex sighed. "Because I didn't want to hurt anyone. I like you, Jane. But I also like Alice." I didn't expect this. Chapter 7. The surprise ending, and that's when Alex said something I didn't see coming. "I've been thinking about it a lot, and I don't want to hurt either of you. But I think I need to be honest with both of you." He paused, looking between me and the empty seat across from him. "I don't want to be with either of you." I blinked. "What?" Alex gave a sheepish smile. "I think I've been leading both of you on. But the truth is, I realized I'm not ready for a relationship with anyone right now. I've got a lot of things I need to figure out." And just like that, the tension, the drama, the uncertainty, all of it seemed to vanish in an instant. Epilogue. Moving forward, the aftermath was surprisingly smooth. Alice and I talked about it, and while it was awkward for a while, we both agreed that we didn't need to fight over a guy who wasn't worth it. Our friendship was too important. As for Alex, he ended up moving away for a job opportunity, and that was the last I heard from him. Funny how life works sometimes. But in the end, Alice and I learned something valuable. Some friendships are worth far more than any guy could ever be. And that's the real happy ending.